Hello and welcome to the After Bedtime podcast. I am your host, HP Burrito. And on tonight's podcast, I want to talk about the Space Threat Assessment 2021. If you don't know what this is a report from the CSIS Aerospace Security Project. And it came out this year, back in April of 2021. And what exactly is the CIS? It's the Center for Strategic and International Studies. It is a bipartisan nonprofit policy research organization dedicated to advancing practical ideas to address the world's greatest challenges. And it was founded back in 1962. And that's all fancy wording for pretty much it's a think tank. Okay, these are a bunch of really smart guys that bring their expertise and their judgment and their networks of people that they talk to, and they research and they can analyze stuff, and they just pretty much come up with problems and solutions for things. Just like I said, it's a think tank. And the ASP is the the Aerospace Security Project, which is a project at the CSIS that explores the technological, budgetary, and policy issues related to air and space domains and innovative operational concepts for air and space forces. So pretty much they're thinking about like countries' abilities to wage war in space, which whether that be outer space or cyberspace. So I mean, the report itself is pretty interesting. I mean, if you have the time to read through it, I definitely would recommend you read through it. You can find it online just by searching. If you can't find it, hit me a message down below in the comments and let me know, and I'll see a way if I can email you a copy of it, because I do have a digital copy of this full report if you want to read it for yourself. If not, with this podcast, you can watch it again and just pause it, read it, then play it again and pause at the next spot, because I mean the whole reason I'm doing this is that way get this information out to you guys is what this report pretty much entails. And this report does entail a lot of information about what's going on in different countries, and it has the top 5 countries that it talks about, and in this report, the purpose of this, is an annual report, so that way, pretty much like I said, find the different threats and debunk myths and any misinformation, and to find out who exactly is playing what role right now, and sorting it out by the types of threats and the countries that they're coming from. One of the main things is the different types of counter-space weapons, as you can see. I mean, one question you might be asking yourself is, what the heck is a counter-space weapon? And that's a very good question, because counter-space weapons are 3 types of kinds of weapons. There are kinetic physical weapons, there are non-kinetic physical weapons, and there's also electronic and cyber methods, for these things out. What exactly is a kinetic physical method? It is a weapon that is attempt to strike directly or to detonate a warhead near a satellite or a ground station. So pretty much like a real good example of that would be like the rods of God. The rods of God is a tungsten rod that gets dropped from outer space from a satellite, reaches terminal velocity as it comes coming down to Earth by gravity, and then hits the target that they calculate when they release it. They hit the target. It's ridiculous. It's almost like having a nuclear explosion go off without any radiation. It's really crazy for what the rods of God are. I've definitely looked that up. The non-kinetic physical weapons, we're talking about like things like EMPs and high-powered microwaves, HPMs, and lasers, for another really good example for a non-kinetic physical weapon, which it's any thing that we can go after satellites and so again. Everything is in this report. It talks about everything in detail. The electronics and it's weapons that target the electromagnetic spectrum, so which space systems transmit and receive data. So we're talking about like Wi-Fi, RFID, things like that. We have to talk about cyber things. You know, we're talking about hacking. Obviously, that's what cyber things is, and they have a real cool table on here in this report that talks about the different types of types of counter space weapons and what they can do. And again, you got to go through this report at your own speed, read it. If you want to read a copy of it, look it up. If you can't find it, again, hit me up and I'll try to get you a copy of it, because it's definitely information that you want to see out there. You know, like China, it talks about China and everything they're doing with their aerospace, programs, and how they've been progressing throughout the years, the kinds of counter space weapons that they have, that they've been testing and things like that. It also goes through Russia and everything that they have, the counter space weapons and whatnot, what they've been working on, and what they're capable of and what they can and cannot do, and this is all based on evidence that they've looked up and whatnot. But they talk about Iran and what they're up to and what their capabilities are in counter space. They talk about North Korea for a little bit, North Korea and what they've been up to. And I know it says here, the past year has been a quiet one. But if you really think about it, 2020 has been quiet for everybody because of the whole COVID-19 thing. But they talk about India and their space organization. And then they have the others, because the top 5 are China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and India. Those are the top 5 competitors that are out there. Now, this report does not include the U.S. This is pretty much everybody other than the U.S. But it does have the others category where it talks about France and what they have, Israel, what they have, Japan, South Korea, the United Kingdom, and some of the technology, what they got. They got kind of like what to watch for, like, what's, what they feel is coming in the future and what they're predicting it might happen is on here. I don't know. It's a lot of it says a key development to watch is an additional indication that Iran and North Korea are cooperating in the space missile technology, which can mean progress in one country is likely to transfer to another. So pretty much that we got to watch with the little allies that these guys put together in these treaties of alliance that they've come up together. But yeah, they're pretty much the last couple pages of the report of just talks about the authors of the report, of who they are and their credentials. It talks to in the end notes, all the reference material is on here to back up everything that they found. Like I said, it's a professional report that's been put out here, and I don't know. I found it extremely interesting of what's going on in space and what they're planning for the future of space warfare. And I don't know. What do you guys think? As always, I always put it out there just for to give you guys some information, to see if you guys have questions and comments and whatnot, and to hit me back up to find out what you think, and let me know what you guys think, because I'm always curious to what you guys think of what's going on. But anyway, that's pretty much all for me tonight. Tell me what you like. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time after bedtime. Good night, everybody.